43 years ago, I sang at a wedding of a dear friend a song called Dance, Joy, Princess. And no one's ever asked me to sing that song again since then. But at that wedding, it was memorable because it was their wedding. But September the 5th of last year, that dear man, Chris Gunderson, was stricken, and I was called to the hospital, and he looked like this when I got to the hospital. That's not good. That's not a good look. And when I asked the ICU nurse if he was near death, she said he died 3 times, and we brought him back to life. So this is a man who died over and over and over again. And so when I saw him in that condition, his children had gathered, went into a family room together. They're all there, lots of tears, and praying with them, trying to encourage them, comfort them. I did pray that God would touch him and heal him. But when I came in the next day and I found that the nurse, I asked what they were trying to do for him, she mentioned about a game plan that she and the doctors had to try and start his kidneys, just things they were working on. And I sensed in them a commitment to try and bring this man back to life. And all of a sudden I began to be convicted, like, wow, I hadn't fully dialed in. I was comforting the family. I had prayed a little bit, but I was not as persuaded as I needed to be about God's healing power. And then the Holy Spirit began to convict me. What can you do, Francis? And I realized, obviously, I got a Facebook page, thousands of people, and so I sent it out, and all of a sudden, thousands of people began to pray, and hundreds of comments come in. I'm praying from around the world, and gradually, the next picture, shows him there with his beautiful wife, Martha, continuing to be critical. The next picture, he began to be more liberated, took off his shirt. Kidding. Anyway, so a little humor there, sick humor. But gradually, all of a sudden, bam, he's now in a care home after a few weeks. Rhonda Rogers, a great lady here. And then finally, a couple of weeks ago here at church, in full bloom. Come on there. Powerful. And so he today is in the room with his wife, Martha. 9 months later, going to share a testimony. Would you stand? Welcome Chris Gunderson, back from the dead, alive from the dead. Come on. Lazarus, come forth.
Good morning. They say my heart stopped 3 times. I don't remember anything after sitting in my chair not feeling well. I guess I went into a diabetic coma. Made me think about Lazarus, how Jesus said, this sickness is not unto death, but for the glory of God, that the Son of God may be glorified through it. A lot of people all over the world were praying for me, thanks to Pastor Francis's Facebook posts. And their prayers were answered. After 7 days in ICU, 2 weeks in the hospital, and 2 months in skilled nursing, I was able to come home. What did I learn after God got my undivided attention? Life is precious, and we can't take it for granted. And there's a reason I didn't die. Back to Lazarus. Do you think he wanted to come back? Don't think so. I don't recall being given the option. Jesus said, take away the stone. Martha, the sister of him who was dead, said to him, Lord, by this time there's a stench, for he's been dead 4 days. Jesus said to her, did I not say to you that if you would believe, you would see the glory of God? And they took away the stone from the place where the dead man was lying. He cried with a loud voice, Lazarus, come forth. For I know the plans that I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not harm you, to give you a future and a hope. Then you will call upon me and go and pray to me, and I will listen to you. And you will seek me and find me when you search for me with all your heart. I have to believe that all things work together for good to them who love God and are the called according to his purpose. If God is for us, who can be against us? He who did not spare his own son, but delivered him up for us all, how shall he not with him also freely give us all things? Through the Lord's mercies we are not consumed, because his compassions fail not. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. 2 reasons I had to come back. 1, he's not finished with me yet. We're on this earth to become more like Jesus. A servant is not greater than his master. If I then, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I have given you an example that you should do as I have done to you. We are here to serve others. Because our base nature is one of selfishness, it takes the life of Christ inside of us to do good to others. Instead of earning God's approval by what we do, our good works are the product of understanding his approval of us based on what Jesus already did for us. The pressure's off. He put his Holy Spirit inside of us to lead us into all truth. Our job is to stay attentive to his still small voice and to obey. And number 2, there are people who need me here. Each of us have people that need us here. Family and friends, of course, but also others we may have divine encounters with. Strangers you may meet only once, but you'll have a lasting impact on their eternal destination. They'll remember your act of kindness, receive your word of encouragement, and benefit from your prayers. We are stewards of our relationships. We have a sphere of influence, a circle of family and friends who are watching us. Live the life God has given you to live by the power of his Spirit, and they will come to enjoy the goodness of God in the land of the living and in the next life too.